People join in hand in hand while the music plays the band. Lord, that's setting us on fire.
Welcome to the Music Plays the Band podcast. We're going to be sitting down with musicians, artists, band members, friends and family to talk about what drives them to create great music. Asking more than just the typical questions, who's inspired you or what music do you like, we're going to ask the why behind what motivates them to create great music.
People join in hand in hand.
1, 2.
Well, I'm tattered and torn, I'm broke down and blue. Been looking for a sign, but I can't find a clue. I'm a long way from home and my soul is worn thin. Don't know where I'm going, but I keep walking. Walking on, I'm walking on, farther down the line. Walking on, yes, I'm walking on, taking it just one step at a time. Walking on, I'm walking on, farther down the line. Walking on, yes, I'm walking on, taking it just one step at a time. He's walking on, yes, I'm walking on. I've got a worried mind, 'cause I'm walking on. Farther down the line, I'm walking on, taking it just one step at a time. Thank you all so much. The Fireside Collective from Asheville, North Carolina. We had a wonderful time with you. Happy St. Patty's Day. We hope to see you real soon.
All right. I'm here at the Shindig with Fireside Collective, and we're going to talk a little bit about their music. If you guys would go ahead and introduce yourselves.
I'm Carson White, and I play bass.
I'm Tommy Marr. I play the dobro.
Jesse Iaquinto. I play mandolin and sing.
I'm Joe Cicero, and I play the guitar.
Okay.
Guitar.
And how long have you guys been playing together?
Almost at 5 years now.
Okay.
It'll be 5 years in March of next year.
Yeah. Did you guys know, did anybody know each other before the band?
Us three went to college together at East Carolina University.
Okay.
Yep.
Nice.
We hung out in Greenville, North Carolina.
Okay, and then
Yeah.
how'd you get in on it?
We had...
Tinder, right?
I think it was Tinder. We matched. No, I think that Jesse knew somebody in Johnson City, a mutual friend, and he just asked about guitar players and set it up blind date style.
Blind date.
And then we
Worked
picked,
out.
and it was love at first pick.
Yeah. Okay. Nice.
Perfect.
And so before the band, like, what were you guys doing music-wise? You guys were in college together playing?
Yeah.
But how about
So-
even before that?
Yeah, so, well, Carson and I were in a band together in college at ECU,
Okay.
and Tommy was a buddy of ours in the local scene, and we all played together. I grew up playing piano. I started piano at age 5 and switched to guitar in high school.
Okay.
Just always loved music. Moved from Greenville to Asheville in 2009 to just kind of immerse myself in the bluegrass out there.
Okay.
And it was great. And when this band came together, Tommy had been in the mountains, left the mountains, came back, left, and I was like, Tommy, we need you back in the mountains.
Yeah.
So he quit his job at
Duty
Whole
call.
Foods and
Yeah, that's
came
right.
up to the mountains. And Carson moved out to Asheville.
Followed suit right after Tommy.
Yeah, sometime around then.
12.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Did you guys grow up playing at home or in high school band or anything like that?
I played high school band. I played percussion and saxophone.
I did not.
No.
No, I had like a fake electric guitar, and that was about the extent of it. Music didn't come into my life till I was 22. I was an artist. I drew pictures and
Yeah.
wrote poetry, and I never played an instrument until I was given a guitar
Wow.
from my neighbor, and then I stopped everything else overnight and just started learning the guitar. And
It worked out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
Pre-dobro. I mean, this is like.
Well, okay. So let me ask you, and anybody can answer this, but what's your earliest memory of music? Like as far back as you can go. The first time you ever even like paid attention to sound coming out of the speakers.
Oh man.
I remember when I was really young, I remember jumping on a bed with my friend to George Thorogood and the Destroyers. The song was
Nice.
Get a Haircut and Get a Real Job.
Oh yeah.
And that song just stuck with me
good one.
forever.
The badass one, yeah.
Because, I mean, yeah, that's what it's all about.
My first concert was Paula Abdul in Color Me Bad.
Wow.
And I was 8 years old. And I was so scared. I was screaming because it was so loud. My mom took me into the sound booth where the front of the house was mixing. And they let me in there because it was farther back. And that was my first musical memory.
Not much has changed.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's still the same.
He doesn't like loud music.
Yeah.
And I had a brother who was really into Led Zeppelin, and he got me into 80s music and classic rock.
Oh, didn't he drive you around and
He drove me around in his Jeep blaring Led Zeppelin so loud
Until
that it
you
made me
cry.
We got a couple crybabies in the band.
Yeah.
they cry. Yeah, I don't remember super early memories other than like rocking out to like Bon Jovi and stuff and Tom Petty in front of like a mirror and just pretending.
Oh.
But,
no, truth is out.
But yeah, when I was like 9, I think my dad, when I finally decided to start maybe like trying to play guitar, he taught me the intro for Stairway to Heaven. And I remember he was teaching it to me like one day, and I figured it out. And then they went out to eat or something, and they called to make sure that we were okay.
Yeah.
And I remember playing it over the phone to him and being like, I got it.
I got it. I'm good.
Nice. So, did you grow up in musical households, like parents that played music or siblings or anything like that?
I did. My dad played guitar.
Okay.
He had a banjo laying around that he'd play every once in a while. My mom sang in choir, church choir, had a piano in the house.
Yeah.
My older brother was into music. He played drums and stuff. So
Right.
my family upbringing was pretty musical,
Okay.
pretty accepting of music.
Yeah.
Remember my mom and my brothers and I would all sit around this old American folk music book with songs like Home on the Range and like stuff, and we'd just sing through it. And
It wasn't the Rise Up Singing book, was it? That's
it
what-
might have
That's what
been.
my family had.
Honestly, it might have been.
Dang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that book.
Okay.
It very well could have been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about, did you grow up in a musical family?
My father played bass in the 60s, but I gravitated towards bass separately from that because he had stopped playing
Okay.
bass by the time I was
Yeah.
born. So I'm mainly influenced by the music my brother or
Right.
sister listened to, who are way older than I am. And that made me want to play bass.
They had good taste, though.
Yes, they did.
Great.
So that kind of leads into another question. Was there a specific moment in time or person that kind of propelled you to take music serious?
Like a person we know, or like a...
Any...
Because I was a huge Billy Joel fan.
Okay.
And when I listened to his music, and like, I just thought that was the point of life.
Yeah.
And I thought it was so cool. And both of my parents have always been extremely supportive.
Right.
My mom was always encouraging me to take it further, and never made me feel like I was chasing a dead-end job. You know.
Okay.
I know it's just some families aren't as nurturing of the artistic side.
Right.
But I was fortunate to grow up in a family where it was encouraged, and you know.
I remember right when I got that acoustic guitar from the neighbor, I started getting into folk music, and probably when I listened to Bob Dylan for the first time, so cliche, but like his impact was like undeniable on me. Like it I was like, all right, this young man, you know, early Dylan, you know, can't really sing, but he's a great poet. And like I said, I was really into poetry before all that.
Yeah.
And his chord progressions were easy. I was just learning the guitar. I was like, man, I can play these, G, C, D. And then I was like, if that dude can do that, of course, now I know the complexity of his lyrics and stuff.
Yeah.
But I was like, man, I can do this. Like, you know, I think then I became really passionate after Bob Dylan.
Okay.
And then I went through a huge phase. So probably him was the first one, you know.
Still in a phase.
Yeah, I mean, I still listen to him often.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
Well, tell me about Fireside Collective. What do you got? What kind of music do you play, and then what are you trying to do with your music?
So we play kind of a modern form of bluegrass music.
Okay.
Contemporary, based on the instrumentation and the performance styles of like the early Bill Monroe, Flatt and Scruggs, you know, where they're really personal with the audience, and the string-based sound. But then we like to bring in our own influences. Like we play funk songs, you know, we play bluesy stuff. We're big classic rock fans. All of our parents were classic rock, you know, listeners. So we play Eagles tunes, Beatles tunes, Bob Marley. And we're just trying to show the world that there are many sides of this music. It's not just, you know, songs up in the mountains about drinking moonshine. I mean, that's part of it. But like there's a whole nother side, and I think there's a lot of potential for this music in the world to reach people. I mean, it's a modern American form of music. And in its original form, it was very new and progressive. Like it was combining the styles at the time and making something new. And a lot of people still kind of preserve that early version, which was great, and it's totally cool to preserve that. But we kind of see ourselves more as like reinterpreting that original vision with the modern perspective that we have. You know,
and I mean, none of us grew up playing bluegrass music. You know what I mean? So it's like you tend to see like a lot of the cats who are playing like the more traditional, trying to keep it as close to the original, you know, tradition as possible. It's like those cats like grew up playing it, and it's like deeply seated in them. It's like whereas we have all these different influences, and it's like bluegrass is like our common love. So you know what I mean? So we come together on the bluegrass, but then we have all these other things that we love, so we try to throw them in there. And I think that the more that we all play with each other, it's like the more we realize that all that music, all the different kinds of music, it's all like connected, you know? Whether it's like the old school classic rock, funk, jazz, reggae, whatever, like there's all like a common denominator at some point. And you know, we dig it all. So
well, you mentioned covering some songs of artists you guys really like. Where do you feel the place is for cover songs in a band? Some bands are really opposed to it. Some bands, that's all they do.
I think for us, it's an invitation to the audience. You know, we still play for a lot of audiences who aren't familiar with us. So they might be listening along and hear a song and be like, oh, these guys can play their instruments. The singing's good. But then you play, you know, we play Eleanor Rigby by the Beatles. And sometimes that can get you a lifelong fan. in an instant. You know.
Yeah, and I feel like it also shows the audience our story and like the music that has influenced the band. So
Paints a picture.
Yeah, you get a different idea about a band by not only
they
listening
cover.
to their originals, but
Yeah.
by listening to who they cover.
Yeah, sure.
So it's I don't think there's anything wrong with it. The bands that we love the most, you know, Jesse and Carson and I and Joe as well and Alex, our banjo player, we all listen to a lot of Grateful Dead in the car, you know, and they were great at covering awesome songs, you know.
Making it their own.
Some of their cool songs
Yeah.
were covers. So, you know, even the greats knew that covering songs was important, and
We like to acknowledge where we came from
Yeah.
and where music came from. Like,
Right.
you know, like some bands are so original, it's hard to even peg like who their influences are. But for us, we're completely comfortable saying like who we're influenced by. Like we stand on the shoulder of giants, you know.
Yeah.
Such an accurate quote for a musician or an artist or anybody in the modern world.
Yeah,
But like we couldn't do what we do now without the music that was created by Bill Monroe and the music that was created in the 60s and 70s when like some of the greatest music of all time was being created.
80s, Carson likes to.
Yep.
Great music came from
Yeah.
the 80s too. 90s.
We're a grassroots band, you
Right.
know, so we are aware of our roots and we like to honor them and show it to the audience.
Well, with all the different influences, how did you guys end up on bluegrass music as far as what you wanted to play together? You say it's like what you all had in common.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
It's like a common thread.
I think that with specifically with me, I know that with all the different music that I grew up with and stuff, which I love, still love, but then like when I heard bluegrass music, that was like, especially maybe I'm biased because it's bluegrass guitar, but when I heard bluegrass guitar, like when I heard Doc Watson, I was like,
Bluegrass
I was
guitar
like,
is
what-
amazing.
I was like, what's happening here?
Yeah.
This is something completely different. And then when I heard Tony Rice, I was like, I want to be able to do this. This is like the coolest thing I've ever heard. So like, then I was like fully into bluegrass music because I thought bluegrass guitar was like the most badass thing I've ever heard.
Right.
So, but I mean, I would imagine that with you guys, like, still like you have like different whatever you were listening to, and then you hear like bluegrass music, and it's like there was something about it that it's just like drew
It's
you in.
to me it's a very exciting and engaging style of music. It's almost a sport sometimes, like when you see a bluegrass band on stage and like in particular around like a single mic, which we do sometimes, coming in, going out, stepping up, this guy solos, that guy solos, you know,
It's like the sharpness to it. Like,
Yeah.
you have to be sharp.
Yes.
Like
Aware.
bluegrass, you know what I
be
mean?
in the moment.
You can't just be like hammered on stage, just like
No,
meandering
you can't.
around. Like you've got to
gonna work.
be.
Yeah. And I think for modern audiences, like with so many distractions and so much like, you know, short-term attention spans, bluegrass, like if you're tired of the banjo solo, it's about to end and the guitar's about to take a solo.
Yeah.
You know, like it keeps changing, and we like to use that to our advantage. We'll have one guy sing, pass it on to the next guy, harmonies on this song, no harmonies on this song, you know. Like there's a lot you can do with it for the audience to just stay engaged the whole time.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, and there's a, you know, because they're with acoustic instruments, bluegrass. There's also like, you know, the practical aspect of when you're at a jam or a party or around a campfire. Like I'm sure all of us, I know I can speak for Jesse and Carson because we've done this so many times. I know Joe has these stories, but you go to a party, you know, you're not going to bring your amp and your electric guitar. You're going to bring your acoustic guitar.
Yeah.
So we just got used to hanging around one another in that setting and always having our unplugged acoustic instruments. So it was almost like a natural progression from jamming around the fire to, you know, just, you know, like let's keep playing. This is fun. Like even when we're not around the fire, these acoustic instruments are awesome.
Yeah.
Just last night we played a plugged up show for 90% of the show. At the very end, we unplugged and played an acoustic set for the audience, and we got in the audience.
Nice.
It's cool to be able to do that.
Yeah.
There's something visceral and like, I don't know, primal about just feeling the sound right there with you. You know, you don't need any kind of amplification. even though we do plug in, but you know.
At Rooster Walk this year, I was walking over to interview Los Chupacabras, and they were, I guess, camping near you guys. And we walked right through your camp while you were practicing, and that was cool.
Oh,
I had my recorder, and I recorded some of it, while I was walking through.
Oh,
but
nice.
You guys were there. I don't think it was whole band. It was, I know you were there.
Yeah.
And a couple other guys just practicing. And,
Yeah.
I mean, that was cool, just walking in, and
Nice.
it was practice, but you guys really sounded tight right there.
Yeah. Rooster Rock was great.
Yeah.
Awesome festival.
That's the great thing about festivals and camping is you run into that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
man.
We love festivals for that reason as well,
Well, just to wrap this up, is there anything you guys want to plug or any projects you're working on right now that you want to talk about?
Yeah. A big one, we're going down to Mexico for the second time from November 17th to the 27th, I believe are the dates.
I think that's right. Yeah.
During Thanksgiving, but it's a really cool experience because we're bringing American mountain music to the mountains of Mexico where they already have mountain music, and we're sharing our music together. And across borders, music is a universal language. Like, it's one of the most powerful things that we have as humans.
Absolutely.
And so that trip just resonates with us. We did it last year. We had a great time.
Yeah.
There's some of the most beautiful people in the world down there.
Yeah.
Man.
Is it like a tour? You guys are making lots of stops, or?
We're doing like 4 shows this time in like cities around this lake where these
Like Patsua.
this
Purepecha-
native
Purepecha natives.
Mexican tribe, the Purepechas, have lived there for hundreds of years.
They were the only civilization in, this is what I've read anyway, that weren't completely overtaken by Spanish and Aztecs. So like they've maintained a lot of their cultural traditions over the time. Of course they have influences from those people, but they're really strong, very sort of proud, a really proud but small group of indigenous people that live in these mountains around this lake.
Some of the most hospitable people in the world.
They speak their Purepecha language there, and it's not Spanish. They speak them both, but it's unique, and we're gonna go back and experience that again soon.
I mean, I hear about bands doing European tours all the time, but I don't think I've ever heard of anybody doing a Mexico tour. That's
it's cool.
Yeah, they like what we do.
And we're doing a new album starting early next year.
All right.
So in January, February, keep your eyes out for. We're going to do a crowdfunding for this one because we want to do it at a good studio.
Yeah.
Good producer. We got the bass player from the infamous String Dusters, Travis Book.
Nice.
And we're trying to do it right.
Yeah.
Our past 2 albums have been more budget friendly. Just like get in, record, get out.
Yeah.
And there's something to be said about that. But this time we're trying to stretch it out, see what the 5 of us can do together with enough time and resources. So next year, next summer, we'll release our 3rd album, and that's going to be our biggest project over the next 6 months or so.
And our banjo player, he's the only one who's not with us right now. There is normally 5 of us, but he had to go home to do some schoolwork, but he is graduating in December, so once that happens, then we'll be
Full
ready
time.
to go, man. He's the
Be
only
a real
one.
band.
He's the only one who's holding us back.
Cool. Well, thanks, guys. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, man.
And,
It was great talking with you.
I missed your set because I was in here. We're manning the door. That's our job.
Yeah.
here, so.
I appreciate
It's all
you, man.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
My man.
You guys
Yeah.
sticking around for the rest of the evening?
I think so. We'll
Yeah,
be
I
here
think
for a little
so,
bit.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys got
you,
some footage of me and Alex actually playing over there earlier, I think.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Brad was
Nice.
over
We warmed up on like 2 or 3 songs over there.
The people join in hand in hand while the music plays the band.
Hey, thank you for listening. I'm super excited to share these interviews with you, and I'd really appreciate you subscribing and leaving me a review, 5 stars preferably, but I'll take any feedback you've got. And stay tuned, we've got lots more exciting interviews coming your way.